Remember the episode of Young Sheldon where George took Georgie and Sheldon on a failed road trip to see a space shuttle? Well, now Georgie and Mandy's first marriage episode 7 has its own version. Ah, the beautiful memories of young Sheldon in its heyday. Long before George died, he offered to take the boys to see a space shuttle launch, but never got there due to bad weather. In its place, we saw one of the most beautiful moments in the show's history, George asking Sheldon how storms worked purely because he knew talking science would make his son happy. Many years later, Georgie and Mandy's first marriage episode 7 is trying to replicate that very same thing before its Christmas break, though it only makes us miss Sheldon's Texan childhood more. But what actually happens this time around? Warning: when Georgie has to fix Jim's lawnmower and sprinkler system after crashing them, he reveals an old Mustang is sitting in the family's garage. Audrey says she absolutely hates it, having sat there for years after Jim promised to do it up. He bought it at a police auction, but it's sat gathering dust ever since. Georgie thinks they could sell it for way more than Jim bought it for, offering to work on it with him. Not wanting to let Audrey win by thinking it's only good for scraps, he agrees. Together, the pair begin to find parts, even accidentally bidding against each other without knowing. Meanwhile, Audrey wants to get closer to Mandy too. She suggests they take on an activity of their own, even though most of Georgie and Jim's bonding results in sitting in the car drinking beer. They settle on repainting one of the rooms as a nursery for Cece. Mandy is open to the idea of getting some privacy, as they all sleep in the same room. Obviously, this doesn't come without its issues. Audrey wants Cece to appear more feminine, claiming she was mistaken for a boy at the mall. Mandy hates the idea of painting everything pink and frilly, with the pair settling on tones of yellow with sunflowers on the walls. Talking about her past, Audrey reveals the young dreams she never followed through with. She says more than anything, she wants Mandy to have a fulfilling life as her own person alongside being a mother. The boys don't get much work done on the car, but their time together does raise another issue. Georgie worries Connor is being left out of the fun, declining to join the work on the car when asked. Instead, Georgie approaches him separately and asks to go on a road trip, which he agrees to. Just as Georgie, and Sheldon once did, the eldest Cooper boy sets off with Jim and Connor on the road to nowhere in particular. Georgie has a ton of snacks, with Connor only interested in listening to synth music on his cassette. While Jim is annoyed, Georgie says to leave him be, he's having fun in his own way. By the time they pitch up at a roadside diner to eat, Connor has managed to get himself a job there. Why? Because Jim is always saying he do.